Welcome to the Awesome Life podcast. I'm
Thank
Karen
you.
Stelz, your host, and I am here with another awesome guest. I mean, let's face it. I only have awesome guests. That's all there is to it. And today I have Merri Guggisberg.
Guggisberg. You
I had it right the first time. Merri. I
did.
don't know what's going on here.
That's okay.
Merri is the founder of the MKG Parent Coach, and she helps parents bring mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude to everyday parenting. And isn't that something that we would all really strive to do, honestly? As a certified parent coach, Merri has over 20 years experience educating and thriving alongside parents in faith and school communities. Merri has helped parents mature and nurture connections, with their loved ones, and really provide the empowering strategies to create a peaceful and loving home. And when she's not on FaceTime with her two adult children, you can find she and her husband trekking around Minnesota state parks along with their golden doodle. Oh, I love all of that, Merri. And she is a new colleague and friend of mine, and I am so grateful to have her in my world, because the fact is, the Awesome Life podcast is basically for women in transition. And aren't we all really in transition? And don't we all want to learn how to communicate better so that we can have that peace and joy in our lives and to feel really good about our relationships? So, oh, Merri, well, welcome. Thank you so much for being my guest. And tell us more. How did you get into this parenting education stint?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you to you too. What a blessing to be with you and share information about parent coaching with everyone that you are blessed to hang out with. How did I become a parent coach? Well, you already heard I'm a mom. I have two adult kiddos. You read that in the bio. One has graduated college and has a full-time job and a part-time job, and the other one is in his third year of college. And what I love to tell parents is we're now friends. And we have grown in those challenging years. We all grew, let alone they grew physically and emotionally, but we all did, my husband and I. And now they're actually friends with each other. And yeah, my daughter recently took a day off of work and drove down and picked her brother up and brought him home for an event. How cool is that? And then they also are friends with my husband and I.
Oh,
so there's hope in there, right? How did I get to become a coach myself? I was in ministry for 10 years. And when I was in ministry, working with kiddos in 6th grade through first 4 years out of high school, I experienced their brain growth, their personal development. And then I had the opportunity of their parents, because you don't just work with kiddos, you get the whole thing, especially in a faith community. Yeah, thank you. And parents would come to me and share their parenting challenges, their struggles. And that's when I put on my parent educator hat and changed and moved and worked in a nonprofit that did mental health, chemical health prevention work. And I was their parent educator. I'd be doing presentations, and parents would come up and say, Merri, thank you for that information. It was so helpful. Now what? And they were seeking that hand-in-hand support. I've been called the parent support in the back pocket, so that when parents had that craving for additional support, they had one more resource to help build their toolkit. So that's a little story of how I got to starting MKG Parent Coach.
Oh, I love it. The fact is that you're able to, you have all of that wonderful knowledge of getting out there and being in the spiritual realm of, and parents, being with parents that want to have that help. that is so fantastic. So I know for me, Merri, my kids, bless them, I love them both. And we won't even talk about how old they are and where they finally got to that point of actually liking each other a few years ago.
That's great.
But hey, it's never too late. It's never too late. And liking and respect. Well, they always respected one another, but the night and day. I mean, I have night and day kids. And like you say, being able to have a parent or have that relationship with your kids. That says, okay, I want to hang out with you, Mom. That's really kind of cool.
Yeah. And I consider myself very blessed that they enjoy that too, that we have moved beyond the call for money. Hey, the ATM, the money tree is not, and it's now, hey, I have these decisions to make and help me make this decision. Should I take this job? Shouldn't I take this job? I'm thinking of this situation with classes. I mean, we're a good sounding board, which shows that I guess a lot of what my coaching certification brings into the realm is how to have compassionate conversations. So I think modeling that healthy listener is also what has really sparked that tighter connection for my family.
How beautiful. How really beautiful. And yeah, I know it is so satisfying when you can raise kids to leave.
Yeah.
And be proud of them.
Oh, very much. Yes.
And then know that they're coming back. So do you have any how-tos? Because I know a lot of parents have a hard time communicating, especially with a teenager. Oh my gosh. I love my kids. They were fantastic. But I have to admit, I divorced my daughter twice when she was a teenager.
Sure. And Karen, I think some things that play into it is we know so much now about brain development, and we know they're not really pushing us away. They're seeking their independence. And research shows that truly parents still are the most influential voice in that kiddo's life. So we can't take advantage of that, but we also know that the prefrontal cortex is still developing. And I like to say, I'm going to be the guardrail. You might bump into the guardrail, but I'm going to be there to make sure you don't go all the way over. And that's what I call the prefrontal cortex that's still developing. It's that part where I, as the parent, the caregiver, and I'm empowering you as the caregiver to help have those safe boundaries and those boundaries that align with the development stages, and how to ask those empowered questions and how to show up and actively listen. Don't be the, I'm going to fix it for you. You want to show up and have that listen to understand, not to respond.
Yeah. And sometimes it's very difficult. I mean, that respond part of it is so important as opposed to react, which is what back in the day, it was easy to react. And for a lot of parents, the stress of life is such that and kids, bless them, I love them, but they know how to push your buttons.
Sure.
So do you have any suggestions on learning how to respond as opposed to react?
Right. That's perfect. I call it flip your lid, Dr. Dan Siegel. That literally, that's what he calls it. And he uses your hand as the brain model, like what's happening in your brainstem and your emotions and what causes me to flip my lid. So yes, that is those emotional push on us. And Karen, how I unpack when I feel like my fuse is going high, I'm going to flip my lid, is first pause. Check in with yourself. How am I showing up for me so that I can be attentive the A, to my kiddo, to my own needs and my kiddo's needs. And then that U is that understand. It's that listening, not seeing just the behavior, but what's underneath the behavior. What is my kiddo needing? What am I needing at this point? And how do I peel back those layers and show up with that compassionate listening, show up with my compassion for myself? Because we don't have it all figured out. And sometimes, now we're to the S, sometimes the S, it's support. Do I need more in my circle of care? Who do I need to involve to make the best support for my kiddo? And then E is exploring those solutions together. Because now that we've built this beautiful little pause, way to show up for myself and my loved ones. Oh, it rolls more than just with your kiddos. It ripples out to your partner, your co-parent, if you're any kind of a work situation, if you can pause and then walk into it, this is just one tool in that toolkit.
I love it. All right. You're going to have to go through that one more time. Because
with pleasure.
I didn't get it written down. And by the way, guys, thanks so much for coming to the podcast and listening to it. Be sure you like and subscribe it. But this is also going to be on YouTube, on the YouTube channel under my conversations. So come see Merri with her demonstration with her hands.
Flip your lid. That's flip great.
Your lid. That's it. So, yes. All right. So back to the P.
The pause. Yeah. And I like to say, learn to pause so you can bring joy to every parenting, like my mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude, right? The MKG. So P is present. How am I being present? And that first is being there for yourself. The old saying, when you're on a flight, put your own oxygen mask on first. It's so true. We have to be able to care for ourselves. And then the A is attentive. And that rolls very well with being present for myself and then attentive to what are my needs. And now I can be even more attentive to my kiddo. When I'm present also, I'm removing all distractions. When my kiddo comes home from school and wants to tell about their school day, it's putting away technology. It's being fully present with my eyes, with my ears, physically there. Attentive with, again, that emotion check-in. Then we're on to the U, is that understand. And I want to empower all parents to listen, to understand, not to respond. And the more we sit in that, I want to understand. Tell me more. What happened? And we're just building these questions, non-judgmental, helps me be present. And maybe when they're sharing something, I can feel my own emotions going, oh my gosh, my baby's going to get fill in the blank, right? But if I stop and just listen to understand, I've slowed down. And then the S is support, because maybe I do need more support. One, that's why you have this beautiful opportunity to build your toolkit, right? But also, who's in your own circle of care? Who's in there for your kiddo? And then who's in there for you? It's okay to bring in a coach. It's okay to bring in, maybe you're in a faith community and bring in the faith leaders. People want to help. Sometimes we just have to be willing to ask for help. So that's the S, is the support. And then E is explore solutions together. And that's, again, after I've gone through all these things, I've shown up, I put my own oxygen mask on, I am showing up, connecting with my kiddo. And now, after I've listened, done that reflective listening, the active and reflective listening, now we can explore together. What are your hopes? Did you just need to get this off your chest, kiddo, and now you're okay? Because that might be all they need. Okay. But maybe it's a bigger concern or a bigger ask, and they need us to sit with them and explore the solutions together.
And that's a key thing too, isn't it, Merri? To know what it is they are searching for. Yeah. What immediately popped into my head was like I said, we don't want to go back. It's amazing. I can even remember that long ago when my kids were young, but to have them to be attentive, to put away the tools. All right. So starting at the very beginning with the being present. Mm-hmm. When my kids came home from school and I was at home, mm-hmm. it was great. I could do that. Not an issue, right?
Right.
But when I started working and I wasn't home when they came home from school and I came in after they did, mm-hmm. and I said, all right, kids, how was your day?
Yep.
It's like, nothing, no how, all good. Yeah, not so good, but I know I don't need to talk to you. You weren't here when I came home, so I can't tell you anything.
Sure.
How do you
can I add on to that though? I would say it's because a lot of parents, we do have to work full time. We aren't here the moment our kiddo gets off the school bus, or we're not the ones picking up from school, but it's stepping into setting the table for that actual conversation. And I use that analogy because dinners together are so important. And it is that opportunity to, what was a high? What was a low today? Start very simple. Who made you smile? What teacher made you laugh? And you're just learning about their day. And then you can have those next conversations. You're peeling it back. Now I can say, oh, that sounds like that was a really hard decision. What did you learn from that? Would you do that decision again? Would you make that choice again? And you're just empowering your kiddos to, one, do that self regulation so that I can have this check-in with myself, but also, gosh, don't we all want to teach our kids life skills around decision making and healthy decisions? So I mean, I was the parent too that worked full time. When my kiddos got off the bus, I wasn't here always. Sometimes I was, but not always. And it was just being really focused on when we did get them in that alone check-in time.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you have any suggestions? It was great when we had family dinners, mm-hmm. but then we had sports.
Activities. Yes.
Sports.
Yep.
God bless the sports. I'm not against it in any way, shape, or form, mm-hmm. but one person going this way, one person going that way, eating at 4, eating at 6, mm-hmm. eating, yep. There's no longer a family dinner. What do you do?
Yeah. And it's not just athletics, right? There's extracurriculars, there's church activities, there's fill in the blank, theater. There's so many extracurricular opportunities. One, I start with celebrating that we are blessed that we have these opportunities. How exciting. Yeah. Think of the skills that your kiddos are learning and the friendships and the different leadership styles they're being exposed to. So Absolutely. Lots to celebrate with extracurriculars. And then if one of your family values is family time, and maybe it is, and one way that, when you're little, I got to control your schedule, so family time was easier. But one, we want to grow them to set them free, right? We want them to take that independence. So it's finding together as a family. You guys all know that family time is so important to me. What's one night a week that we can have dinner? Oh, dinner's not going to work this week? Okay, can we do Saturday morning brunch? We know kids, they want to sleep in. Let's do brunch, or Sunday, whatever day. And you're finding it might have been 7 days a week. As they get older, it's less and less and less. And then we're still finding that intention. We are just being intentional about, hey, as a parent, I need this. What can we do together to explore solutions?
Yeah. And letting them know that it is something I need for myself, mm-hmm. because yes. I love you so much.
Exactly.
And not that I'm trying to smother you in any way, shape, or form. Right. It is right. simply to keep our relationship alive.
Exactly. Because relationships take work and takes ownership on both sides. And it is one way of sharing. And that the family values is just one example. I mean, there's tons. In my coaching, that's actually where we start, is with values and having them. Just like your business has a value statement, no different should a family. Family should have their core values, and that's what you use to set boundaries. That's what you use around this. I want to have a deep connection with you, kiddo. So we're going to do family dinners, and you can help me pick what night of the week. You can pick the meal. I mean, whatever is going to make it that two-way ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those ideas. Those are wonderful, wonderful tips. And it's not just for families. It is for any area of your life, whether you are dealing with a coworker or a spouse or a partner, or these are great ideas. This whole pause. All right, guys, we're doing it again here. The pause, present, attentive, understanding, support, and explore solutions.
Exactly.
Life needs to, and I don't use that word lightly, need. I usually ask my clients to say, all right, let's get rid of the needs, have tos, should, stop shoulding on yourself, all of this stuff. But it is important to recognize your needs, your values. And indeed, in the Awesome Life Success System, it all starts with recognizing your values. And when I started this game in coaching, my coach said, okay, let's look at your values. And I said, what values? What are you talking about? I mean, yeah, I get, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's where a parenting coach can really help.
Exactly. It's the foundation, right? It's the foundation. And then you just build.
If you're not living your values, you're not going to be all that successful in what you want to do, right?
Yeah. Karen, I frequently, when I start with a parent, I'll ask, what are your hopes? What is your vision for your relationship with your kiddo? And parents will say, I just want my kid to know that they can come to me with any concern, big or small, right? And then I peel it back and I'm like, okay, now where are you? And then trust comes up and you have all these, and then they'll say different things that is like barriers to those. So then we get to unpack and learn to let those unrealistic expectations go and celebrate, celebrate who your kiddo is and help them develop too, to be the beautiful person that they were meant to be. So it is foundational. I think values are so foundational.
And it is what keeps the kids coming back to you.
Yes.
And in all honesty, I truly believe when my kids were ready to go to college and pretty much on their own, they looked back and said, Mom, you always liked my brother best. And he said, you always liked my sister best. And I said, well, I've done my job, obviously.
That's good.
Obviously, you didn't realize that I love you both so very much, and you are different. So, and I did try and explain that to them. Said, yeah, of course, I did not treat you the same. Would that have been fair to you?
Yeah.
You are your own person.
Exactly.
You love this, this, and this. They love that, that, and that. Would you have enjoyed if I had encouraged you and forced you to do that, that, and that? No.
Exactly. And that's a child's job, I think, is to help hold us to task too. Well, what do you mean child A got this and child B didn't? Well, let's walk through that together, right? It's also teaching our kiddos to celebrate their sibling. Because siblings, I use the example that my own two, one got invited to a lot of birthday parties and the other one didn't. And how to support your one that didn't when this other one is going to all these different things. And so we got to explore that together and learn to celebrate different friendships, and different ways of having friendships. So yeah, so raising kids isn't easy. There isn't a manual. I didn't get a manual, so I'm trusting no one else did. And
The good news is that you have coaching, you have the internet,
yes,
you have technology, you have a lot of places you can go to. When my kids were little,
right.
we really didn't have that. So
Understand. Yes.
we had Dr. Spock, and I said, no, I'm
No.
not going to pigeonhole my kids. It's no,
Fair.
they are
Yeah.
their own individuals, and you have to treat them as such. So I was by the skin of my pants all the time. But to have a coach like yourself, to be able to reach out to help support.
Yeah. And build your toolkit, right? Be
Build
that
your
circle of care. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is so, so, so important. So how can people get in touch with you, Merri?
Yeah, thank you. I am on all socials. So we can connect on LinkedIn. I have a private Facebook group that really is that circle of care, so that people drop in those parent concerns, and they are that village, right?
And
Takes
what
a
is the
village
name
to
of your
raise a
Facebook?
child. Can I send you all of those? It's called, it'll be easier, right? Parenting with Purpose MKG. It's easier. You can add them in the notes if that's okay.
I absolutely. I will, guys. I will put all of these in the notes as well. But
Perfect
to hear as well. So
yeah, and then I have a website, of course, MKG Parent Coach, and I'm offering a free class in the first few weeks of December. We all know the busyness of the holiday and how stressful that can be on us. So I'm doing a holiday harmony and using that mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude as really the basis of what are some self-care practices that we can bring in. Remember, put my own oxygen mask on first so that I can show up with that mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude at all of the holiday, or even when my kids are home from winter break. And how can I show up for my kiddos in that more mindful way?
That is so great. And remember, guys, pause. Yeah. That is such a wonderful, I always know about pausing, take your breath and everything. We have the moment, and we always have a choice in that moment, right? To say, okay, I'm going to do this, that, or the other thing, react.
Right.
Or if you pause, you can respond in a way that is truly helpful and fruitful. And I love the acronym to be able to take it even more, take that step further.
Exactly. Bless you. Thank you.
Oh, that is so terrific, Merri.
Yeah.
Thank you so, so much. Do you have any last tip for our listeners today?
Yeah, maybe it's just truly embracing that pause. I love how you said that. And practicing grace, because we can't every moment show up and practice the pause. We do flip our lid. We do lose our cool. And then being graceful with yourself and your loved ones to know that I can do this again. I can ask for a do-over. I can say I'm sorry. And then we can do this again. So
I don't know. Did we talk about how powerful the saying "I'm sorry" is?
Exactly.
Can we take a few more minutes and go into that a little bit, Merri?
Yeah. And Karen, when we apologize, I think it's so important to not be afraid to apologize to your kiddo. Sometimes we practice this parenting over and we feel that we have it all figured out, and that's the only way my kid's going to respect me is if I teach them a lesson, right? Where what if we do the pause, right? And we explore these things together. I've even coached clients to say, you walk in the house and the house is a disaster. We had asked the kiddos to put their toys away, maybe have the table set for dinner. And we walk in and it's a disaster. And rather than flipping your lid, losing your cool, you step back outside the door, you practice the pause, you catch your breath, you do whatever your calming technique is, and then you do it again. And the kids are going to be like, what just happened? But you could be completely transparent and say, I was going to lose my cool, but tell me what happened. And maybe there's a really good explanation of why the living room wasn't tidied up, why the dishes weren't done, whatever the situation was. But we don't know because we come in with our assumptions, and we have to just pause and be willing to listen. And if we do lose our cool, be willing to say, that is not who I want to be. That is not how I wanted to show up. I ask for their forgiveness. And what can I do to make it better?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful words to remember and to live by. Oh, Merri, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and being a guest on the Awesome Life podcast. Again, come listen, sign up, subscribe, like, and come over to YouTube for conversations, and reach out to Merri, a wonderful, amazing, as you can hear, parenting coach. And we all need support sometimes. That's why you have people like Merri and myself for spiritual entrepreneurs who want to be in a leadership role and a growth mindset. It is very important to have people. And now with the technology, it's a whole lot easier, right, guys? So thanks again for joining us, Merri. And everybody, be awesome.
Thank you. Blessings to you all. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Thank you. Bye-bye.